If you've been in the hobby for quite some time, you may have some KZ sets, and you may know what KZ means. It means Knowledge Zenith. And this one here is their new flagship single DD named Zenith. So it's basically Knowledge Zenith Zenith. Good day guys, this is Practiphile, and today we're gonna take a look at, of course, the KZ Zenith. Thank you so much KZ for sending this for review. It's been a long time since I got KZ sets. I think the last one I reviewed, the Carol, it was a great set, great TWTS. This one here comes, I think, around 60 bucks, maybe $50, 55, depending on which store you want to buy them. This is a single DD with switches. Very quick unboxing, not really unboxing, but to show you what's inside the box. It's not a traditional KZ box. This time it's quite bigger, like this one here. Nice presentation all in all. It's like from Joy Audio, if you know the Joy Audio stuff. Bunch of ear tips here and a very nice carrying case. Actually, I like this case a lot. It's one of the better cases out there because they feel sturdy. You can use this for other stuff, like I don't know, like cards or something. When I put something in there, basically it's nice. It's presentable for its price. That's all I can say about the unboxing. Build wise, it's this one here. I don't really like the standard cable. I wish they've included the premium cable they have, because it came with the standard cables they have, but I changed it to like 4.4 balance black cable. But I'm pretty sure you have cables at home. But yeah, I just wish that they included their braided cables, because sometimes they include that in their sets, but not in this one here. Well, they call it Flagship. If you're new to the channel, usually I do the objective first, wherein I check the graph and talk about its sound objectively, and after that I score them basing on my personal preferences and basically subjectivity. So if you want to know how I score, check my video right here. I scored the set depending on how it's priced. Now the KZ Zenith, since this is $60, this should fall under the sub $60. A lot of good sounding sets there, like the K-Fine Clean, EPZQ1 Pro, and stuff like that. I am going to include that in my comparison, and probably sets that are more expensive. So let's start with the objective first. The graph of the Zenith looks like that one over there. Very familiar graph, because look at that. It's spot on with my target until the upper mids, except for the upper treble there. It's not really dark sounding, but it can be dark depending on the switches, because again, these have switches. There's like maybe a 2 dB, 1 dB increase, and 4 dB increase in the bass in there. It's just a very balanced sounding set for me, objectively. The bass glide, this is the most, I think this is all up in here. Follows my target there. Very good glide from sub bass to mid bass. Maybe this is not for bass head, because this is my balance target. It's not really for bass heads. But yeah, look at that balance there. The mids are not really recessed. I think it peaks around 2.5K, and then a steady decline from the upper mids, and then going down to the lower treble. So treble is non-fatiguing. Treble's not dark. It's just that it's not really that emphasized. There's really nothing emphasized here other than a slight elevation in the bass. And it's just maybe because of the overall signature. As you can see there, it's just a very well done tuning. That's the objectives. Now, moving on to subjectives, wherein I score this for the tonality on the Zenith. I think I'm giving it, yeah, I think I'm giving it 2.5. Although it follows my target, I would have liked it to have a little bit of extension there in the upper treble. Of course, you can lesser down the bass, which setting was that? I think DDUU there. But this setting here, wherein you lower down the bass, it elevates the upper mids, which may sound a little bit maybe shouty, not really shouty, but you just feel that the vocals, female vocals, just sounds a little bit more forward than usual. There's not really a good balance in there. I'm not saying that it's peaky or something, it's just that the balance is not there anymore, if that makes sense. So for tonality, I am giving it 2.5. Moving on to the bass, since you can adjust the bass, And there's this really tactile feeling in every hit. Like, I also don't notice it in the bass, just also in the probably like the lower mids area and the mid bass, there's this tactile feeling like air pushing every hit. And it probably because of the magnets they're using. They said that they're using like very strong magnets in here. And it could be that. It's really, it feels like a passive radiator. I like DDs with passive radiators for like from the Fermat and from the DZ4. I don't know, for some reason I just feel that it's very, there's this tactile feeling to it. And I feel that on the Zenith. It's not even bass hit level, but there's quality in there, man. So for the bass, I'll give it a 3 for the bass. And you know, like you can also change it if you want lower bass or you know, you want plus 4 dB in there. That's what the switches are for. Moving on to the mids, I also found the mids to be very natural sounding. I don't hear any unnatural timbre. Instruments sound good, vocals sound good, males, females, name it. Timbrely, they sound correct. So for the mids, I'm giving it a 3. Speaking about timbre, probably the only issue I found is in the cymbals. I'm not saying that the cymbals are peaky because that's what KZ is known for, but this time, it's probably a little bit tamer. And because of that, there's not a lot of, I'm not saying that they're not really emphasizing the treble, but there's not enough details in the tail end of the cymbal crashes, if that makes sense. Again, it's far from dark sounding, but it's just that, again, this is a single DD. It's very hard for a single DD to do everything in the frequency, and there has to be a con, right? And probably in this one here, although the tonality is very balanced, it takes a hit a little bit on the cymbal timbre. So for the treble, I'm giving it 2.5. They're not peaking anyway, but I think they're just too safe. Well, it's good actually, because safe is always better. And for the technicalities, I think the technicalities, it has good instrument separation, it doesn't sound congested, good perceived 3D imaging. So for the text on this, for the price, I'll give it a 3. That's a total of 14. It is an S ranker for me. Easily an S ranker. I mean, you can see it on the graph. Objectively, it graphs nice, and subjectively, the Zenith sounds good. For the comparisons here, where do I start? I start with the EPZ Q1 Pro. There, it's leaner in the bass and it's more forward in the treble. You can see that the Zenith is warmer, so if you prefer a warmer set, then maybe you can go with the Zenith. You can also make the bass lower also with the switches with the Zenith. The EPZ Q1 Pro would sound probably more detailed in the upper mids and in the treble, as you can see there, past 10K. But I think the Zenith would be a safer bet. You know, it's just so smooth sounding. I'd probably pick the Zenith over the EPZ Q1 Pro. How about the clean, let's say? Okay, fine, clean in there. Here, you can see there that the clean looks like it has more sub bass or bass, but it's balanced because it also has more elevated treble. It has like past 10K peak there and also upper treble, so it kind of like, it plays a good balance. It doesn't sound as bassy as the Zenith because again, the Zenith, although the bass is lesser, it also has a little bit of tamer treble, so there's more emphasis on the lower regions, if that makes sense. So again, if you want more balance, more complete, then probably the K-Fine Clean is a good pick. I still think the K-Fine Clean is very good for its price, but if you want a warmer signature, smoother sound, then I think the Zenith is good for that. EW300, let's see, EW300, the graph looks like there. Yeah, the EW300 is gonna have a more impactful bass, but I think I'll give the quality of the bass to the Zenith. Of course, the EW300 is, I think, a little bit more expensive, but I feel like the Zenith driver, like it doesn't sound like a 60 buck IM, but at the same time, it also sounds like under 60 buck IM because of the treble. It's just, I think it's just priced right. Do I think the Zenith sounds better than the EW300? I don't think it sounds better, but I think the Zenith is more balanced sounding, in my opinion, compared to the EW300, even compared to the EA500LM, because the EA500LM has that treble peak, and even the EA500 as well. They have that elevated upper mids 5K, which can be very fatiguing. Look at that. Look at how smooth the Zenith is compared to EA500LM right there. Look at that. It's just very smooth treble response for the Zenith. It's unbeatable, and it's priced. I mean, like the smoothness. It's just If someone wants a smooth IM, this is probably the first IM I can recommend. It's just the Zenith. And does it compete to IMs more than it's currently priced? Yes, I do think it's competing with that. Let's see here. Compared to the Duno Kima right there. As you can see there, the gain is actually very, very close. There is a little bit of mid-bass emphasis on the Kima. You can see there's a little bit of hump on the mid-bass for the Kima to make it more sounding natural sounding. A little bit of elevation on the Kima past 10K, which makes the treble a little bit more exciting, just a little bit more exciting. And I think the Zenith doesn't have that. It just doesn't have that last tail end of every cymbal crash. So I think the Duno Kima still sounds better than the KZ Zenith, but again, it's twice as more expensive. But hey, the Zenith is also very good in its price range. Compared to SM4, SimGod Super Mix 4, the graph is here, right there. The Super Mix 4 is gonna have a lot of sub bass, but it doesn't really sound like it has a lot of sub bass for me. It's smooth, but maybe because of the drivers. This is single DD versus a hybrid IEM. The Zenith is gonna have more accurate timbre, especially on the cymbals, because the SM4, I don't like how those microplanars handle the treble. They're just thin sounding. They're a little bit of natural. Technically, probably the SM4 is gonna be more technical when it comes to details, but again, if you know me, I always choose an IEM that sounds more natural for me. So I'd probably pick the Zenith over the SM4 because like even if a single DD, the Zenith sounds more natural. Nova's more expensive, of course, and Nova is, you know, similar to the SM4s. It's gonna have a tuck in there, as you can see there in this area here. This is interesting because the Nova also doesn't extend pretty well in the treble, but there's a little bit of emphasis there around 3 to 6K to compensate in the presence area. But again, the Nova is more expensive. It's hybrid. I don't know why I'm comparing this, but I think I have more fun with the Zenith compared to the Nova. I don't know, for some reason the Nova is a little less engaging, and the Nova I didn't even rank it an S. The Zenith I rank it an S because for the price, 60 bucks, man. A lot of people don't like KZ because maybe because of their marketing. Before I reviewed a lot of KZ sets and I see a potential in them. I know that, you know, like their marketing is kind of like shady, but they're a player in the market. I mean, most of us probably started with some KZ sets and they're doing a comeback now. Like recently, their sets are really well tuned. Like even the ZVX, I forgot to compare that. Their budget model, this might actually graph similar to the ZVX. Right there. Yeah, pretty close. Although the ZVX is a little bit bassier, but yeah, they got the fundamentals this time. I think KZ is really getting better at tuning their sets, especially on single DDs, and I hope they improve more in their hybrids. So yeah, KZ Zenith, I think this is, yeah, it's well worth the price. It sounds good. Does it beat other sets that are more expensive? I don't think so. I think it sits pretty much on that spot. A good recommendation under $60 along with the K-Fine Clean, EPZQ1 Pro, and the other legendary sets. Thank you so much for watching my video, and knowledge Zenith, KZ Zenith.